But I was thinking maybe we could just make this a bigger podcast room and you could set up your office over at her space.
There you go.
How about we pour you a big old glass? I shut the heck up.
Well, we keep infringing on his territory.
Yeah, this used to be my office. There's a big, couch and smoking lounge and
we had all kinds of
cigar,
furniture.
humidor. It's all gone.
No humidors, but I did.
Past the fire, past the sounds. Moonshine through the clouds, saddle up, 'cause there's no stopping me now.
Here we go.
All right.
Another exciting episode of Living Well Together.
Big life in a small town.
Who we got today?
We have
What's our
Monique
thing?
Reeves, and we're really excited about this today. She is the CEO and operations manager of
Beavercreek Office Suites.
Beavercreek Office Suites.
I got to admit, I am intrigued by this.
The whole thing. Terry's like, I think maybe she's got my new employee. In
Yeah,
her
I'm
office
going
right
to say
now.
you probably know my next employee.
Oh, okay.
I haven't met him yet.
Oh, all right. This will be good.
I loved reading through your notes because you have such a heart for not just your business, but for the people that you do business with. But why don't you give us a little bit of background about your business?
Did you get in the Miami Valley
Yeah.
after living all over the world?
No. Yeah, she's a military brat.
Yes,
Is how she declared herself right off the bat.
So I actually always go really passionately into this intro, and I tell a lot about how I was in the military, blah, blah, blah. And then I realized that I'm coming off like I served in the military. I'm just so proud to be a military brat, which is a child of someone who's active in the military. And I was fortunate to be, I was fairly young. I think I was like 1 or 2 when my dad entered, but when he retired from active military, I was pregnant with my second child.
Oh, wow.
So my entire life revolved around military life and moving and what the next thing is and would be. So I think I, in general, had a pretty good outlook on what that lifestyle would be. I don't know if that was ingrained in me or just being in a community of people who always shifted.
Yeah. What was your favorite place and how long did you live there?
That's a great question. Alaska.
Alaska?
Yes.
Okay.
So I lived in Alaska middle school and a couple years of high school, and then we'd come back to Ohio.
Okay.
So my dad did 5 years here, moved to Alaska, and then he wanted to get stationed somewhere where we were familiar.
Okay.
And Ohio, he really loved the schools and the Midwest, so we came back here.
So he's an Air Force man.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, we live in a town that revolves around a military community.
Yes.
Yep.
And so to be part of that, having not been military, we get to meet a lot of people who come and go. And you guys kind of came and ended up staying.
Yeah. So while I enjoyed military life as a child, I decided I wanted to have roots somewhere.
Sure.
I love that my kids, so now I have 3 kids, 21, 17, and 14. And I wanted somewhere they would have lifelong friends that they knew since kindergarten through. And I think a lot of small town people take that for granted. It's like you graduate from high school and you just want to get out of here. Yeah. And I never...
You didn't feel that way?
I didn't feel like that at all. I was like, I guess I've already been out there and it's great, but it's not as good as the place you call home and where your family is. So...
Yeah, that bloom where you're planted mentality, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So have your kids gone all the way start to finish through the Beavercreek school system?
Yes.
So you've been here that long then?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes. Yep.
You're in the PTA and all the things community. Kids are in maybe sports or music or...
Yep. So both my sons did club baseball. And then my daughter is in Galaxy, Celtic, that whole thing. So club soccer. So yeah.
Great. Yeah, you're hooked. You're in.
Yeah.
So your oldest, is that your son?
Yes.
And so he's 21. So he graduated from Beavercreek. Did he feel like he wanted to get out of here?
So Ironically, he is in the Air Force Reserves.
Oh, he is. Okay. So he is out of here.
Yeah, well, he married the two. With the Air Force Reserves, he could choose where he wanted to be based out of, and he wanted to write Pat. He wanted to work on planes.
Yeah.
So he wanted the familiarity of home. He had to do basic and all of that out of state.
Yeah.
He did a deployment to the Middle East already.
Oh, wow.
And, he decided he wanted to stay here in Ohio, but have the ability, he's been to Spain and he can get, transferred and do his 2 weeks anywhere in the world. So,
Beautiful.
And still call this his home base.
Still call this his home base. He bought a house here in Fairborn
Oh, wow.
he's planted now.
Yes. Once people have a home, that does feel like they're planted, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That must make
Contractually you
happy.
are, yes. Right. Through the bank.
Well, that's true. You could become a landlord, I
Yes,
suppose.
very much so.
Yeah. Good. But you still, there's still a tie.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Absolutely.
Well, that's good. So all your babies are here. And that feels good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have, is it a son and a daughter?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
A daughter. She's 17 and our son is 14.
And 14. Okay. And so the 17-year-old daughter is playing soccer, like a league soccer or club soccer. Is that what they call it?
Yep. Club soccer with the Galaxies, and we travel all over the
Do you?
place. Yeah. Yeah. I think he's pretty busy. And just another community of people that live close and that we get to spend a lot of time with.
Okay.
Get to know really well.
Yes.
Cheer on your team.
Yes, and we actually have been very fortunate. I know you probably hear all kinds of different stories about club teens, and you do. You spend weekends with them and long trips, but we have been incredibly blessed with the most amazing parents who are like, really half of it is to watch the kids play, the other half is to hang out with the parents.
Nice.
And so,
That is wonderful. So low drama.
yes.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. We've also had leadership who encourages low drama. So
Oh, that's also really good. So trickle down, right?
yeah, absolutely.
When the kids were growing up, did you kind of scheduled your work days so that you could be home with them? Is that right?
Yeah. So when I started with the company, it wasn't Beavercreek Office Suites. It was a different entity. It was small business then too. Family owned. And I took the job because it got me out of there at 3:00. And that's when my son got off the bus. And I could have a life after work.
Right.
Sure.
So that's what drew me to it.
Yeah.
And moving forward, I'd always had wonderful mentors and leadership that understood that I could request a day off a week. And that was like breakfast with son and daughter and all my kids at one point or another when they weren't going to school. So I enjoyed the flexibility before I even had ownership over the company.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the company. Like, it's called Beavercreek Office Suites, right?
Yep.
And is it literally a suite of offices that you oversee and run?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And so tell us who comes in. Tell us your clients that are there. Tell us, because you also mentioned something about being able to create an address for somebody, a virtual address for somebody, for businesses. So tell us a little bit about how that is.
Model.
Yeah.
I
The whole model. I'm very
wanna
curious.
Understand from like start to finish.
Yeah.
Sure. So, it is an office suite business where it's full service. So I compare it to if you go to a hotel to go on vacation or you go to an all-inclusive.
Okay.
Not everyone wants to do the hotel version. They want everything taken care of for them. They just bring their luggage and good to go. So that's what I compare Beavercreek Office Suites to for business owners or branches of companies who are out of state and want to build a Dayton, Ohio location. Our most popular client is a government contractor who wants to test out Right Pat, maybe win some contracts, but they don't want to commit to 10,000 square feet or their own building. So what we do is we offer suites. So within my building or my space, I've built out 47 offices.
Okay.
And I lease them to different companies. So from you can have one office on a month-to-month lease.
Like an office like this
Yep,
that they just
like
come
this.
in. Okay.
Yep. And you can, or you can have a 5-year lease. Doesn't matter what the term is, but we do offer month-to-months for people who are just
Wow.
testing the market.
Yeah.
it.
And then we furnish it. We have fiber internet. We have everything protected behind the scenes with your internet. You just bring in your laptop and plug into our
Wow.
Ethernet cables. And however you need to customize that on the front end, like routers, modems, any additional services you would need, they can implement that. But
Okay.
we have the connection.
Got it.
Yep.
Oh, that sounds
So
so
furniture, tables,
convenient.
chairs, all of it.
And they have 24/7 access.
Wow. So
Yep.
they have their own keys or keypad where they're coming and going whenever they want to.
Yep.
Then do you have like conference rooms that they can all share?
Yep.
Like kitchen areas that's all shared? Okay.
Yeah, so you have access to 3 of our conference rooms, and you can book that by the hour or by the day, and so you're not paying the overhead. So it's
Right.
shared overhead is
Yeah.
essentially what it
This
is.
is brilliant.
I know. So smart.
And
right?
so there's a kitchen area. We have a community fridge where we stock with snacks, and we don't have vending machines, so we put drinks and snacks in the refrigerator and freezer.
perfect, yeah.
Coffee services out, serve yourself water bottles for guests, and then we have a client fridge where they put their lunches in, or if they're catering, they need somewhere just to store until lunch, then we have that too. There's also an admin there that is there
Okay.
Monday through Friday
Okay.
and greets guests, answer your phone
That was my
if
next
you need
question.
it.
Okay. So almost like a receptionist in a way.
Yep.
That's going to make sure that your clients feel welcome and like they know what's happening when they walk in the door. Oh, that's very
And
good.
with 47 offices, we make
Yes.
sure they know where they're going.
Yeah.
And then packages, mail, we sort and deliver that to their office.
Okay.
Sign for your FedEx packages. We have a lot of like equipment, their expensive equipment coming in. And
Yeah.
so they want it there on site. But if they are out to a lunch or they're out of the state for a week for a conference, then we're there to sign for their FedExes, their UPSs.
That's
I've
also
had
really
semi-trucks deliver, and I've had semi-trucks go out for packages. And they use us as their location because we have great relationships with our delivery folks. And they have our hours, they know our names, they have my cell phone numbers.
Wow. The delivery people do? That's
do.
so nice. So
They do.
if nobody's there, they call you guys and somebody comes and takes care of it?
Yep, I publish my cell phone
convenient.
number on the door.
Oh, wow.
So anyone
Yeah.
can get a hold of me.
Oh,
I'm
know.
intrigued by
nice.
this.
I know. I mean, it's so smart. So for your average client, how many rooms are they taking at a time? How many offices within their suite of offices do they take? Is it mostly just one, or do some of them have like 10?
Yeah, I'd say 50% of them have one office and the other. I have a client who has 7 offices.
Okay.
I have a family-owned business in there that's been with me for like 12 years who has 4 offices, and they're getting ready to take another one.
So these are people who they don't want to purchase the real estate. They don't want to do the build out. They just want to be able to plug in, and you just give them a place to do that.
Absolutely. So
gosh.
take for example, I have a family-owned business. It's now their grandma and grandpa have a financial advising business. When they came to us, it was just the 2 of them, and they were sharing an office. And then they realized, hey, we are meeting with more clients. Let's take a second office. We'll do business in this one, and we'll meet with clients in this one.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And then they added a son-in-law, and now their grandson works for them, and now
gosh,
they
that's
each have their own office. And so it allows them to do the financial planning, meeting with guests, and if the roof is leaking, or the refrigerator went down, or the internet had a glitch for a second, there's someone there to problem solve for them, so that they don't have to interrupt their business.
Yeah.
No, you don't have to stop and pay the light bill or the janitorial service. It's all shared, and we take care of that.
This is brilliant.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
Why didn't we think of this?
Well, you asked about the virtual service too. I think you may
Yes,
have mentioned that.
yeah.
And so on the virtual service, so we call it a virtual office. side, it's really a protection for those who aren't quite ready to jump into an office. For like $150 a month, you use our professional address. And if someone comes in and says they Googled you and just wanted to know what you were about, why are you different from the other attorney's office?
Right.
I just wanted to pop in. We get that all the time.
Really?
I just wanted to pop in and see where you were located. I know. In
Pop
2025, people are still popping in. Yeah.
Wow.
So they
wow,
would-
but then you're there. It's a legit
I gotta
thing.
tell you though,
Exactly.
I could be that guy.
Yeah.
I could be
You
the
need to pop
popping
in?
guy. Yeah.
I get it. I would pop into it, especially
Sure.
depending on the situation.
Yeah.
We've had attorneys in the building and they were just like, okay, of all the attorneys, let's just pop in on this one. And you would find that their guest experience of being able to pop in is
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, maybe they can't meet with anyone on the
Right.
spot.
Right.
But there's someone like our admin or me
Yeah.
who's standing there saying, oh, they're not in right now, but can I take a message?
Yeah.
And then I
Yes.
immediately send that
It
email.
kind of legitimizes what might otherwise feel sketchy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'm not just sending this thing to a P.O. box in,
Exactly.
Nome, Alaska somewhere. I'm
Yeah.
actually going to be able to see a physical building and meet a physical person.
Right.
Brilliant. Why didn't we think of this?
Well, I don't know, babe. We're not Monique.
Apparently not.
No, but it is. I mean, it's so smart, and I'm sure that your clients appreciate it so much, and the people that work for you. 'Cause
Okay,
it
what's
sounds
the
like
weirdest thing you've ever had in rent space? Who's the weirdest client?
Let's go there.
Have you
have to
ever
name
had to
names.
fire
You don't have
anybody?
to name names.
Like run them out?
No. I once had.
We had a taxidermy business in there once, and the smell was horrible.
I once had a client who, this may not be weird, but like in our business, it's strange. I had two brothers who were starting a company and they said, oh, we're just going to start like an IT company. And all of a sudden our internet was getting bogged down. Like there were, all of a sudden we went from like 100 people using the internet to like 1,000.
They're mining crypto.
It was like, oh my gosh, they're actually running their IT company out of here and running servers. The room was full of servers.
Oh,
like
my
head to toe servers.
gosh.
And so
It was 200 degrees.
yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
Wicked hot.
Did you guys figure it out almost right away, like within the first month?
Oh, we found out in a couple days. Yeah,
because of
I
how
was
much?
like, where is this funneling to?
Yeah.
You know, what? And we
my
don't
gosh.
we don't track anyone's traffic. We
Sure.
don't get into that. But I can match the times that it's
Yes.
happening with who would be here between the hours of 3 p.m. and midnight.
Oh, and
you
it was
know?
them?
Yeah, yeah. And they weren't doing anything nefarious. It was
No.
just like, oh, you're running an entire.
So how did you handle it then? Did you have to ask them not to do that anymore, or did you?
I wish you could
figure
stay,
out
but you
another way to have them have their internet.
Yeah, I mean, the great part is like money's always, everyone's on a budget. So
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I understand that you're trying to accomplish this, but I have to now charge you,
Yeah.
10x what you're
Yes.
being charged right now.
Yeah.
So if that works for you, you can stay. But
Yeah.
I always find that if you can give someone an option as opposed to just telling them this is how it's going to be,
Right.
then they feel like it wasn't so much like us butting heads or having an ultimatum, but it was
Yeah.
Right.
like, oh no, I'm going to choose to not pay
to stay.
10x.
Yeah.
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 Like,
And so they left.
yeah. Then they knew at that point it was time, like they needed 20 servers and space.
Sure. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
if they didn't try, they wouldn't have known.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And they were really grateful. We really loved them,
Yeah.
like their personalities and
Right.
the profession.
So what's the vetting process? Let's say I've got my thing. Do I got a paperwork? I got an application to fill out before I can move in?
Yeah. So before that, that's a really great question because I was not good at that in the beginning. And I think as a lot of small business, especially starting up, even though I had known this business and I had grown up through it, when it was mine, I was like, a different light switched on, and I was like, we got to pay bills. We've got to, now I have to worry about this.
Always such a difference between being the owner and being the manager.
Absolutely.
And the mindset has to shift, no doubt about it.
Absolutely. So it took me a while to learn that there has to be some kind of vetting process, and not necessarily like an application, but if someone doesn't give you their email, phone number, and full name with the full name of their business, that person's not probably...
They're not very serious.
Something's sketchy.
Yeah, I found that if they're not willing to give those 4 pretty basic things, this is either not very serious
I
or...
want to have my marijuana delivered here.
Yes. Yeah, we've come close to accidentally doing business with that type.
It's not really
too.
cocaine. Well, yeah, it is.
Right. Exactly.
But those are very basic. That's very basic information. And you're right. That's a red flag for sure.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't want to give us just like your email address, your
Right.
telephone number, so that we can like stay connected.
Right. I mean, even a Gmail, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with a Gmail. A lot of legitimate businesses have Gmail accounts. But yeah, or, if they make an appointment to tour and they don't follow up with, or not that they don't either call to say, hey, we need to reschedule, or that's usually a red flag too. And so it's best not to start off the relationship
Yeah. Right.
like that.
Yeah.
And good communicators, good communication is always like a good vetting system. Because so much of what I do is online, over email, over the phone.
Okay.
A lot of my clients have had they fly in. Yep. So unless they're local, our probably 25% of our business are locally owned businesses and family owned businesses,
wow.
and the other are out of state.
Really? Not 75-25? It's 25 local
Yep. Yeah.
and 75% are out of
What
state.
would make a business pick Ohio or Dayton, Ohio specifically in that regard? Why would somebody outside of here choose to be here? Is it the base?
That's a great, yes. So for the government contractors, a lot of them have Colorado, California operations, DC, Virginia. Cost of living in Ohio is excellent. We already have the contractors here.
Right.
Cost of living is amazing compared
Right.
to a lot of your
California,
well-known.
DC's. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've lived on military bases before. And so sometimes the surrounding community from a military base may not be, quite business friendly, but also community friendly, good schools, all of that, family friendly. Ohio or Dayton, Ohio, right here where we are, Fairborn, Beavercreek, Kettering, Center. I don't know if you consider all of that part of it. We have
Valley,
great schools. We have great cost of living. And a lot of people stay because they love the Midwest.
Right.
We're nice here.
We are nice here. I
Probably
really,
too nice, actually.
I really love.
We need to start
I
punching
love
people.
Ohio's. Like their slogan, the heart of it all. It just makes me happy. Yeah, it's what it feels like. I feel like people are friendly here, and they are willing to lend a helping hand and
Absolutely.
get to know you. They're not as closed off as in other areas.
Yeah.
How long have you been the owner?
Yeah, I'd love to hear your story, like because you started working there, right?
Sure. Yes.
And then, and so that process has been how long?
It's been 20 years.
Okay.
And I've owned Beavercreek Office Suites for 13 now.
Wow.
Yeah, we incorporated or started in 2020 or 2012. I keep saying that, like 2020 something, but it's 2012. Did I answer? I answered your question. So where
you
did I get
started
started?
as the receptionist?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So take us from there. Like, how did you get that job? What brought you into that business? And then how did you know when you wanted it for yourself?
Sure. Okay.
A hostile takeover. I feel like it was a hostile takeover. We're going to get the scoop on this. Go.
So like you said, I had a friend, my sister-in-law actually was the pastor at our church, and she had good friends who owned this executive office suites building and business. It was family owned at the time. and they were looking for an admin, and I was looking to transition out of like a restaurant college job. I now had my oldest son, and so I was looking for something more Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And so she connected me with the family. We went to church together, just passed each other, didn't know, we had this connection. So I started as the admin there. And unfortunately, a couple years later, maybe 3-4 years later, the company went into receivership. And everyone had gotten fired except for me and the accounts manager, who actually worked with me for 20 years. And we had to go through the process of providing documentation of what happened. And the receiver was actually very nice.
Yeah.
And he needed help, and we were happy to oblige. We weren't sure.
Yeah.
This is, I think, where my military experience comes into these situations is, like, to everyone else, this is chaotic.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you go look for another job? And to me, I was just like, let's ride this ride and see what happens,
Good for you.
They let everyone else go for a reason. I felt bad for them, but I don't know why they chose me and the other lady. But we were like, all right, if this is what we're supposed to do in this moment, let's just do it and see what happens. So then we came out of that, and the new company had hired both of us. Great.
Okay.
And then
Kept your jobs.
And then after 4 years, they said, we just had to take this over due to this relationship and this contract that we had with this other company. We never want to do this. This isn't our prime business. We want to go back to Virginia and do our government contracting. So it was a government contracting business. So I learned to work for a government contractor while still doing this business.
You're getting paid to learn and earn.
Absolutely.
This is awesome.
Absolutely. Yes. Well said.
Learn and earn.
But I was, they had a lady, her name's Wanda Nelson, and she was my mentor. She was the go-between from Virginia to this Dayton, Ohio location, the redheaded stepchild that no one really wanted. But she taught me about how to elevate and mentor women while still empowering them to figure it out on your own. She was the perfect mentor for me.
That's so good.
Yeah. And she, we met yearly in DC, and she was very honest, and she held me accountable and taught me how to form a professional business.
Oh, wow.
Before, with the company being family owned, not that it wasn't professional,
Right.
but government contractors have to dot their I's and cross their T's and then do it again and then do it again, and red tape and understanding compliance and understanding security. And so I got the best of both worlds from them. So 4 years later, when they said they're gonna, they gave us a year heads up and said, we're gonna close up shop. And I said, well, why don't I talk to you? Why don't I fly out there and we talk about me owning it? And they were like, why? And I was like, I don't know, but let's talk about it. So I got on a plane a week later, and I didn't have an appointment.
Oh my gosh.
This is like $1 billion company. And I just sat in a hotel and I said, I'm going to be here for this week. Whenever you have time to meet with me this week, I will meet with you. I'll be at this hotel. I'll get on the metro and I'll come to you.
Wow.
And they gave me a half an hour.
I love this story.
I know. That is tenacity. Wow. So you just sat in the hotel and they called you and you went in.
Yep.
Where's Mr. Reeves in this process?
He's the biggest cheerleader.
So how long has he been Mr. Reeves? Or how long has you been Mrs. Reeves? Is maybe the best question.
Oh gosh. Yeah. So that was 2006. Yeah. So we're going 19 years. What is it? 19? 18?
So you were already married. You already had at least one child.
Yeah.
By the time you purchased the company.
Two?
Two?
Three. No, actually I had all three of mine.
Holy Moses.
Yeah. My youngest was probably really, really young, but yeah.
So you told Mr. Weaver, I want to buy this
Mr.
company.
Weaver?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Reeves.
I knew you meant.
Yeah, Mr. Reeves.
Sorry.
Reaver. Well, one of my chiropractic people is Russ Reaver. So I crossed it.
You're crossing over.
Yeah.
Anyway, you said, I want to buy this company. And he said,
Great, let's figure out how to do it. I believe in you, and you'll know if it's a dud. Because he knew that I would drill down to the core of the earth.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
To make sure before you actually purchased it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they handed you over all the books and you got to see for yourself exactly how it was functioning, profitability,
Yeah.
where the expenses were, where the hidden expenses were.
Yep.
And then decide from there
you were
if
the
it was
Doge.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
You're the Doge of this place.
And I have to credit this company because again, they could have walked off and not put in any work with me and they would have been fine, right?
Yeah.
But they were incredibly transparent. I had to sign a couple, NDAs and such, but
Yeah, that makes sense, of course.
but they took the time to section off after we spoke. I was with the vice president of this company, the equivalent of a second vice president, my mentor, and then I think the owner of the company stepped in at one point just to make sure, she is actually here. You didn't make this up. Some crazy lady sitting in a hotel just waiting for an appointment. So he knew. So going back to my husband, I'm sorry. He knew that I would get into the details and I would get the information that I needed. But also he knows that I will jump when I don't have all the answers, right? And I just need enough.
Yeah.
But it was
where
hard
faith
at work.
comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
bit of
and
faith
you did
factor.
talk about your faith and how important that is. And then that allows you to take that next best step, right?
Yeah.
Keep taking one step, another step. Everything feels good. Green lights, green lights, green lights, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And even then, we had so many hiccups. This was at a time where the market had crashed and everyone was recovering. And so banks weren't loaning money. And so even though everything had aligned and I had decided, okay, I have the information I need. Now I have a path that I have to go down to start. And I was like, banks, here's my business plan.
Right.
And they just said no, everywhere. They said, no, we just can't.
Yeah.
You had to put up so much collateral. I didn't have any collateral.
Yeah.
I didn't even have a building.
Yeah.
The building was an asset. We were renters. The
Yes.
business is a renter.
Yeah.
So everyone had said no. And I just believed that I could make this thing work. On paper, it was a loser. But I knew I could restructure things and make it a winner. But that's hard for a bank to understand.
Especially at that time.
Yeah.
They weren't
when they
willing
don't
to take the
care.
risk. And they
Right.
don't care.
They don't care.
To them, it's just black and white.
Right. Exactly. So
So how
So
did
who
you?
finally said yes?
Yes, somebody had to say yes.
Well, I restructured the expenses. And really I had a small angel investor within my family. And again, it wasn't a ton of money.
Yeah.
But I got on the clients who were already there and established. And I started knocking on doors and saying, can I have 5 minutes of your time?
Yeah.
If I were to take ownership of this business, how would you feel about that? Would you continue to do business with us?
Yeah.
And so I just made a plan that said, okay, rents roll over to me at this point. If I didn't take a salary for, a year or two,
Right.
this is what I need to build. So I was still running that business. So now I had I had to start selling stuff because I knew that meant future revenue for my future business.
Yeah.
So I was in that unique position.
Yes.
So that's what I did.
So you started selling.
I just started selling virtual offices.
Okay.
And the offices that we had left.
Yes.
And
Getting
'cause we
those
had
booked.
Yeah. We had vacancies. I tried to get people to sign longer term leases because, again, if I had to go back to the bank and say, okay, I don't need let's say $100,000. I just need $20,000.
Yeah.
I have these contracts lined up. They're already signed. Rent's coming in. They're good payers. We've got history with them. Then I was able to show them. And so eventually a bank was able to say,
You're
okay,
tenacious.
thank you.
Is that one of the words?
No. Resilient, flexible, and elevated.
flexible. Yeah. Oh, you're super flexible and super resilient, but tenacious is you left that out.
Thank you. I guess that's going back to the comment you made is like, I have a lot of faith in whatever gifts and abilities that God gave me. Like, to me, just putting one foot in front of the other and just taking things as they come, not as defeat, but this is just where we are today.
Right.
Again, I attribute that to my military brat life. And my dad didn't always get stationed somewhere for 3 years, 5 years. Sometimes it was a year.
Yeah.
And we just pack up and leave. And we knew that was just part of the deal. But also our friends and community always changed. So I'd make a really good friend in 6 months. She was gone.
Yeah.
But you became a good friend maker, right? Because you had to over and over and over again, too, right?
Yes.
And making those connections fast and making them deep, too.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is I don't know where this comes from. It's probably my dad, but I saw a lot of my friends get lost in that, that you have a short period of time to get friends. And so it's easy to become something that you're not. It's easy to grab attention where you can get it and mold to the environment. And I was in a lot of different environments, economically, just educationally, just the physical place we were in. And that just never really appealed to me. And that doesn't make me better than anyone. It's just how I was wired. I couldn't see myself. Like, I would just get like one or two really good friends. Yeah. And then I was good with that. I was just nice with it to everyone else. But where I spent my time was just like one or two people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just
Are you still that way
inner
today?
circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am. I have sisters too. So, and we all live very close together. I actually live 2 streets away from Dominic and Chelsea.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is so great. So Dominic is your brother?
My brother, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. We knew Dominic and Chelsea when they worked at Bob Evans together.
Oh, that's hilarious.
We saw their love story unfolding.
Oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed.
No, it was adorable.
Yeah.
It was so precious. I mean, he just like, even back then you could see what a sweet-hearted person he was, the way he would take care of her and take care of her table sometimes for her, you know? It's like, oh my gosh.
Oh, so you like were in it. Like
We were
you've
in
seen
Bob
that.
Evans, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and when we would watch it, you know, well, he probably didn't watch it all, but
Paid
I would
zero
totally.
attention.
Huh?
I was eating.
Well, I have always had a soft spot for Chelsea, you know, them dancing together and just, you know, kind of just being a part of that dance group. And so maybe a part of it was just the protective mama part too. It's like, who is this Dom guy? You know?
Absolutely. I'm glad you did.
But it was really, really sweet. I love that. Loved having Chelsea on the.
She did a great job, and this is great. This is great.
And she's helped me in my business quite a bit too. After she was on here, I'm like, oh my, you're here because we need you. Yeah. And
great.
but it's, we love hearing people's stories. Like, I would never have known about this whole entity that you have developed.
Yeah.
Unless you were here. It's so fascinating. I didn't, just never would have crossed my mind.
Well, I accepted, when Chelsea told me about this, I accepted the invitation because I love podcasts and I love the long form of this and getting to know you and a business. Like I feel like I got to know you when I walked in. I was like, oh, I've heard their voices. Like your voices. I felt like I was on Love Is Blind.
So sorry.
And we went over the wall.
I don't know what that means, but I'm sure that it's good.
So,
I love that.
It was funny because I have done interviews for a newspaper, like a local newspaper, or they were doing an article on women in business, and I sat down with them for an hour maybe or a half an hour, and then it's this little blurb.
Yeah.
And so it was usually a quote, and I'm not really great in short form. Really, like, they said, like that is totally taken out of context.
Yeah, I was like, did I say that?
I think I like compared owning a business to like having a baby on my hip and a bottle in the mouth and like changing diapers at the same time. And my point was like, you have to multitask. The article was about women in business.
So they spun it that way.
Celebrating moms. And so it was like, oh, Monique thinks, you just, if you can put a bottle in a baby's mouth and change diapers, you can own a business. And I was like, oh, great.
Well, they won't get that here.
Yeah, there's no hiding that here.
Actually, the mayor of Beavercreek at the time was like, nice article. Well, we were good friends. I was like, no, that's totally taken out of context.
That's right. She knew you.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that you were talking about is just how solution oriented and being able to think of things on the fly.
Yeah.
Taking a negative, what could be perceived as negative, and flipping it and turning it into a positive. And that is a gift, especially in your type of a business where you're trying to make so many people happy at the same time. And he's also very good at it. So I'm sure that it's a gift that you
Well,
recognize
that's
in each
always
other.
going to depend on who you ask.
Yeah. No,
But your
it
work
is.
culture is unique, right? Tell us a little bit about the culture that you work to create with your employees.
Oh, so with my employees, so I always say the unique part of our business is we live with our tenants. We live with our clients.
Yeah.
So they perform their Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 with us right there. So there is no, come in for 30 minutes and then we send you off on your way. Like we all have to have some symbiosis.
Yes. Yeah.
Like each other.
Right.
And we're very much, roommates. And the culture that I like to create is that my clients they know without a shadow of a doubt, like I have their backs and that our facility is taking care of everything they don't see. And that's hard to value on a day-to-day basis. And when you've been with me for like 4 years and you forget that like all this stuff is getting taken care of.
Back in the day, people do have short memories, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Or even after a year, they forget that, someone was making sure. I come in on weekends often just to make sure we had like a really big group come in and they catered lunch on a Friday. Did everything get cleaned up so that there isn't a food smell on Monday?
Right.
We had a really bad storm and there was a time in some of our spaces where water was leaking. And so I was on the phone with our property managers, and this is just a building issue, right? Everyone has them, but no one sees that we brought in commercial grade fans on a Friday night. And I was checking it, 3 times on Saturday, 3 times on Sunday. And that was just the temporary fix, right? There has to be a permanent fix. And so I'm working on that for another month.
Right.
And, people, they don't see that. And I get that.
Yeah.
So I like that our clients are very well vetted and that they're not forced to be here. And that the relationship and understanding is valuable to them. Like they're not people who just sit in their offices and don't get to know anyone. Now that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, if they want to do it that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the culture there is, I understand our clients very well. I understand that there's a niche, right? There's the perfect, it's like dating.
Yeah.
It's like you have to have all these things and check all these boxes that we're both checking, right? And I no longer get insulted if it doesn't work out, right?
Can't take it personal.
Absolutely. No.
Good for you.
Nope.
That's money in the bank. You'll get old better that way, frankly, because if you take everything personally, it's going to be a short life.
Yeah. Yep. But the second point in answer to your question, how do I handle culture with our employees is, I used to, that part I did take seriously, personally. So if someone left me, I was like, man, what did I do wrong? What didn't I provide? Could I have paid them more money? Could I have done, could I have maybe let go of this client that just seems to be a pain in the rear? And then maybe their life would have been easier.
They would have stayed.
And so I learned, again, it was probably 5 years into ownership.
It's not easy.
Yeah, or there's just a pattern, right? It just, they come, they go. And I spent some time, I spent a year actually, just actually diving into this theory that maybe it's not about what I can offer on like monetarily or in these things I can't necessarily control. Maybe people just want to know that they can have a personal life and work. And I believe I read Tony Dungy's book, and I think he was the one who quoted, who's the football coach, where he said, business and personal are the same. They tell you to separate business and personal, and you don't, and you can't. Even from an employee, it's not just a business ownership perspective, but from an employee perspective as well. And so I thought, well, if they're happy personally, then will they be happy here? And so I tested out a theory, and I said, okay, you have limited paid vacation in your let's say 2 weeks, but you have unlimited unpaid vacation. Because who does that hurt? No one.
Yeah.
I'm in the office anyway, and I've done all these jobs. So there isn't a phone I won't answer. There isn't a trash can I will not empty.
Right.
So what I learned was not only people take jobs sometimes for a time and as a stepping stone. I realized I stopped categorizing these jobs that I was offering as lifetime jobs, and that this was just a phase. And that, just like owning that, was so freeing.
Yeah.
And then providing an atmosphere where they don't have to say no to personal. What I think is messed up is that we only give bereavement outside your normal vacation. We only give bereavement, and that's such a sad environment to create. Not only for bereavement, but outside of your, maybe you get a little sick. So a lot of people have just PTO and paid vacation, but you're only really allowed to say, hey, this came up last minute and I've got to go. And it's under a bereavement umbrella.
Oh, wow.
And so I said, well, you should be able to go to that girls' trip that accidentally popped up because your girlfriends had a week 6 months from now. You've already asked for all your time off. You want to spend a week with your family for Christmas. You want to spend a week with your husband and your family on vacation, or whoever that might be. And then your sister decides she wants to go on a vacation. You should never have to say no to that. Because I wouldn't.
Right.
And you shouldn't either.
And so you give them the flexibility to take it as unpaid time off, but to go.
Absolutely. And I actually, depending on like what all has gone on, like let's say I've noticed they only took their 2 weeks, or their 2 weeks is scheduled for the year, and you don't have to schedule it out for a year with me.
Right.
But then they're like toying with something. Oh, my mom brought up this. And I'm like, you tell your mom right now, you can go to that wedding in Colorado with her that your dad doesn't want to go to.
Oh, yeah.
You need to tell her she should go because she's going to be accompanied by you and not have any issues. That happens all the time.
Oh, wow.
And I think once I opened the door for that, I realized how often people would use that policy and that.
Yeah. How many employees do you have?
Right now, I have one, and then I have a 1099 employee.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. But I used to have a pretty big staff.
Yeah.
And just with efficiencies and stuff.
Oh,
just
no,
needed
I
to.
totally
You
understand.
got to doge them out.
Yeah. That's essentially what we did.
You're doge.
So
Doge in a green top.
Yeah.
So do you live by those same tenets that you
Say yes when you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I actually, Nicole, who works for me now, her boyfriend plays professional baseball.
Okay.
And she's 20. and I think he's 23-ish, 24. Anyway, his schedule, he's all over the place. I don't know. There's like levels to baseball and all this stuff professionally. There's all these different teams that, anyway, so she never knows from week to week. Well, she's in the last 2 months, she's been out, I think, a total of like a month.
Oh, wow.
And most of that has been encouraged by me. I told her, do not say no.
Yeah.
You don't know how long this is going to last.
Right. Yeah.
And she has
Oh, I can
vacation.
tell you. But I won't.
And it's all required. So she has everything lined up. They pay for a plane ticket for her, either her boyfriend, her mom, her whoever is paying for the only wall she would have is work.
Yeah. Yeah. That would prevent her from going.
That
and playing
dadgum
and-
paying your bills just gets in the way.
So how does it affect your business though, to not have somebody on site with you? Can she do her job virtually?
Very little of it. I try to also just let them be.
Okay.
You know, I found too that most of them have offered just to be available, or is there something I can take with me that I can keep up with it?
Right.
Like I said, I've done all these jobs.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm applying for a job at your place.
So much flexibility.
Usually I'm like, if I send a text because I don't know where something is, like, where's this thing that we reorganize and I can't find?
Right.
How do you turn the shredder on? I had a problem with that the other day.
They
It's
are
like,
tricky. Some of them are really tricky. I think it's so the kids can't get them started up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm sure there's a lot more higher level stuff too, but I try to just let them be, right? So I will do that. I've done temp agency in the past. Yeah, to just fill in the gaps because sometimes we have a really busy week, or I've got a tenant who's a tax preparer, and
Oh, wow. Yeah.
getting through tax season just with people down is really tough. So my daughter actually, she will come in
Will
if it's
she?
breaks.
That's fun.
Yeah.
And then you guys get to work together?
Yeah.
Do you own the property now?
I don't.
Okay, is it something that's on your radar? Or do you just not want to be like have that part of the business?
Yeah, it has been on my radar before. The pricing just wasn't there, and because I have to not only factor in the value of the building, but the value of my time and headache and
I was
standing.
going to say that's a whole nother level of ownership.
Yeah, because making a call to your property manager to take care of something is different than you having to call 10 people to come and bid on, replacing a roof problem or something
Absolutely.
like that.
And we're in a 3-story building
Oh, I
with a
wondered about
walkout
that.
basement.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
there's an
Where
elevator
are you?
involved.
Where is the
And
building?
an elevator too.
Yep, it's at Signal Hill,
Off Research?
off of Colonel Glenn. There's we're literally right in front of Wright Pat. There's a 3-building system. It's
Oh, I
called
know
Signal
where you're
Hill.
at.
Yeah, right
It's
across
so
from Parties.
pretty.
Wait a minute. I'm not there yet. Where are we?
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Keep explaining it to him. We could pull it up if you want.
Yep. So you would come down Colonel Glenn, like, Meyer would be on your right, and then you cross over Grange Hall. There's a Hardee's right there and a car dealership on the other side.
Got it?
Right next to that, Signal Hill. It has 3 buildings,
Okay.
and I'm the middle building.
Yeah. Okay. I do know where you're at. You don't have
right
to do it.
across from Wright
Okay.
Pat.
Good. Across from Tootie's
Yes, yeah, they're catty corner.
and Waffle House.
Yes.
Wow, babe. Good job.
I should have said Waffle House, yeah.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
Right.
Do you have any surprising lessons that you've learned from running a small business?
I've learned that not everyone cares about your business.
That's
Check
for
that.
sure.
Nobody.
Except for you and your husband. And probably
Yeah.
your kids a little
Mr.
bit.
Reeves cares too. That he's the only one.
I started out thinking, I'm going to go to all these networking things. I'm going to do all these things. And I piled it on, right? And I was on these boards and I learned a lot from them. Don't get me wrong. I can learn anything from anything. But nobody cares more about your business than you do.
For sure.
And you can shout from the rooftops, but if it's to the wrong people in that this is not who's going to serve your business or be a potential client, then it's best not to spend time doing those things. And I think sometimes you have to go through that to learn that in the first
100%
place.
true.
So that was the lesson. And nothing to them. I've made great friends and great connections. I could just call them instead and say, hey, what's that building belt over there? Instead of, this is a potential lead that could help, shout from the rooftops and advertise our business. And I had to learn that lesson. So you just hired different right people for that job. That's the other lesson I learned, is hiring good quality people in vendors. I once hired a vendor that, when I was trying to do a business deal and this person found out that I hired them as a vendor, they were like, oh, okay, so you're a serious business. And I was like, I guess I didn't consider that.
Yeah.
But based on the vendor that you had taken on,
Based on the vendor,
it elevated you in their eyes.
Yeah, because I think sometimes as a small business, they're just like, oh, you're just a small business, right? And like, no, I put a lot of value into who we hire too, just as much as a large business.
But I do have something that I want to ask you about. You call yourself the keeper of the memories for your family. And I thought that was the sweetest thing ever, because your comfort food is, do you remember what you wrote?
Oh, no.
The stuffed cabbage.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And mashed potatoes that your grandmother made, right?
Yes, yes.
And so, and you like to make these
That your
types of
mother
things
made out
too.
for you.
That your grandmother made for you.
Yeah, you pick the one thing where I'm like, because there's a whole nother side of me that has to do with cooking and my community. But yes, keep going with the.
Well, yeah,
the
but
cabbage
just
rolls.
as far as, so you gather all the recipes together. You're also the one that's making the recipes for your family. When you consider yourself the keeper of the memories, what is that? Oh my gosh, what is wrong? Can you not stop thinking about Seinfeld episodes now?
Oh, is there a Seinfeld reference? So.
He'll get it together.
Okay. So on both fronts. So my grandmother makes the most amazing cabbage rolls. She's from Germany. She's born and raised there. She came here as an immigrant she married my grandfather in Germany and came to America. But she has these cabbage rolls that I didn't know this is how they make cabbage rolls in her very small town. So I went out on a business meeting, actually, to a restaurant that makes cabbage rolls. And when they gave me the cabbage rolls on a plate, the cabbage roll looked like a burrito. It was in a red sauce and it had rice in it. And I was like, oh, no, I ordered the cabbage rolls. I'm so
wrong.
sorry.
Yeah.
And they're like, that is a cabbage roll. And I was like, oh, no, it's not. It's not my grandmother's cabbage roll.
It doesn't count.
And so I was like, Omi.
So different.
Yes, it's they're small.
Okay.
Like little burritos, mini burritos.
Yeah.
Little pillows of heaven.
Yes.
And what's in
But
those?
always on mashed
meat.
potatoes,
Yeah.
never on rice.
Yeah, it was on mashed potatoes in a gravy, a brown, or it's grayish
Okay.
gravy.
Yeah.
And it's more like an egg roll. It's like meatloaf, no rice in
Yeah.
it.
No rice. No rice. What are they
does that?
thinking? Wow.
And my grandmother's come out like threaded, so
cabbage
the
rolls.
cabbage.
Threaded
Yeah,
too.
so she threads every single one of
my
them, ties
gosh.
them off so that the cabbage stays, in place.
Tucked.
So my house is the place where everyone gathers for food.
I love that.
And I have, my kids make fun of me. Instead of an office, I have it looks like we own a kitchen, or like a restaurant or a food truck.
Yeah.
I've got the pans, I've got the burners, I've got all this stuff. And everyone comes over, whatever excuse there is to come over to my house and eat. Like it's like the labor of it. I'm an introvert.
We can tell.
And so I like to stay in the kitchen and just watch everyone have fun and get together. And I am the keeper of the memories because I also am filming. So this sounds really creepy, but I'm in the background filming everyone.
Because you want them to have memories of it, and you post them on your Instagram, right? Your
I
private
do.
Instagram.
Yeah.
So that they have a place to go and watch them when they want to.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Yep. So I learned how to do reels just by, trial and error. And they're for nobody but me and my family.
Do you do reels for your business?
I've done a couple. It's funny because I don't really do our social media, and I've done like one video, and it was very popular. And by very popular, I think it has like 89 views. But
That's pretty popular.
compared to our other stuff, and I don't know. I just love watching them and seeing our kids. Or I'm fortunate; I have all 4 of my grandparents still alive.
Beautiful.
Oh, special.
Yeah, and
Wow.
my grandparents sold their house in Indiana and moved to Ohio. So all of my family's here. All of my husband's extended family is here. His sister was living in Africa for the longest time, and she moved back and moved here.
Wow.
So she's actually like right across the Grange Hall from us. So I could, if I had a 4-wheeler, I could drive to her house. My grandparents live behind Dominic and Chelsea.
Oh, wow.
But we all live in Beavercreek is my point. And so
good.
yeah,
So good. Yeah.
I just film everything.
You have lots of opportunity to be the keeper of the memories.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, just for fun, if you had to pick one song from your list, and I'll show you the list, that describes your journey in business so far, which one would it be?
Oh gosh.
May not be
Let's
on
see.
that list.
Or it could be a different one. Your 5 songs were What Good Is Saturday by Train, Electric Feel by Jason Joseph, My Love Is Your Love by Whitney Houston, Valerie by Amy Winehouse, and I Want to Be Your Lover by Prince. So you
Like
can
that.
pick off of the list if you want.
This is another editing moment, I can tell.
I need to think about things. Like I wouldn't want to be
Yeah.
asked those kind of
No,
questions.
that was
Like,
that was the
I don't even
curveball.
know any songs.
Yeah,
I thought that
kind of
was
like the Happy
fun.
Birthday song.
Yeah, I thought that was fun. That was a fun question. I don't know. I love Electric Feel.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Could you hum a few bars?
You don't have to do that.
I
Yeah.
don't know that song.
So
It comes up on my Apple Music when I play my summer track.
Of course it does.
Yeah.
So this version is actually from, I think MGMT is the original group that did this song, and then this
I
is
do
a
know.
remake.
All right, I'm with you now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
couldn't hum a few bars though. I do know what you mean.
Yeah.
I love both versions, but this one is like more of like the R&B and version and like very strong like voice version of it. And so I don't know. I like that about it, that they took something that I think a lot of people know this song. I don't know.
Yeah.
In its original version, which was just fine.
Yes.
And then made a version that probably a different audience would be
More soulful.
with
you.
would be interested in. And so I feel like, I don't know, maybe we're reaching here. That might be.
Yeah. You're taking something just refreshed, and that's what
Yeah.
you did with your business.
Yep.
You know,
Absolutely.
you took that space and you refreshed it so it fit your model and created a space for people to feel comfortable and, like you said, symbiotic, and a place for employees to grow and for you to grow too.
Yeah, absolutely. Modernized it and said, okay, maybe this would resonate. It resonated with these people, but let's see if it would resonate with a different audience.
Yeah.
And
I love this.
I know. It's
This is going to be
phenomenal.
a popular episode.
you
You'll get
give
more than
tours?
89 views, I promise.
Do you give tours of your space?
yeah, absolutely. You encourage everyone to do a tour because it's hard to explain. Even it's not a very well-known concept, and then it's hard to wrap your mind around. Why would I pay? Everyone in the commercial real estate space talks about price per square footage.
Yes.
And so while you might be like $13 per square foot in a normal space, we're like $74 a square foot.
But you're providing so much value.
Right. And sometimes people need to see
Right
why.
down to the
You have
snacks
to
in the
see it.
fridge. I mean, it is a value. Have you been out to
That would get it
Aileron?
for me.
Have you done anything out there?
Yeah. I've seen.
That's an amazing place.
It is.
And it sounds to me like you're kind of
Yeah.
brushing up against that a little bit too.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Their mission is like very different, and I love their mission. I love their story and
Right.
the history of that, and the people who've taken it on.
Yeah.
And yeah, when you go out there, you understand why their conference rooms are priced the way they are.
Right. Yeah.
It's there's a place for 1-star hotels. There's a place for 2, 3, 4,
Amen.
5-star hotels.
So true.
Yes.
Yep.
And you can be a 5-star business park, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
love that. What else do you want people to know? Anything we left
Yeah.
out? We covered a lot of
What would you
turf.
like to add in? I feel like
I guess my big thing is that businesses small when you're starting out and when you're ready to take the next step, there are options, right? You don't have to wait until you are big enough to hire an employee or you've made $1 million. And so now you can put forth the capital to get your own building. You can start with something like a virtual office. It doesn't have to be with us. Pick a location anywhere in this country. There are people like me, small, locally owned folks and international executive office suites who offer the protection for you to protect yourself and your business with an address, a professional address. Get your home address off of your when you create your business.
Yeah.
Now, I understand at the time of creating your business, that's the only address that you have, right?
Right.
But at some point, it is very, very easy to then invest the money to protect your business and your privacy.
privacy, and it just makes it look so much more
It
professional.
legitimizes it.
It legitimizes.
You can move away from a P.O. box and have an actual professional experience.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Absolutely. And then you can, we always tell people, they're like, well, I want to, this is how we're formed and we've got 2 employees and we should take 2 spaces. And I'm like, I wouldn't, if I hear a story where that doesn't seem to be the solution, I will tell them, take one office.
one.
Right.
We're never going to punish you for upgrading.
Yeah.
That's where your experience in the business pays off dividends for them. And
Absolutely.
again, that's an experience that they won't get when they're winging it on their own.
Right.
So
Right.
the investment is small, the risk is almost zero,
Yeah.
and they can kind of take their business to a whole new level with place in your space. I love it. This is a great story.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Monique. This is so fun. Thank you, Chelsea, for giving us the connection here.
Yes.
That's some of how our best episodes have been spin-offs from other episodes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm also thinking out loud here, but I think most of our entrepreneurial spirits are female. I love that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fun.
We've had a lot of female business people who are rocking the house.
And just in new business models, what feels new to me, like with Chelsea's virtual assistant business and virtual offices, like this is what you're offering, and plus physical, but just that whole concept, and it's just I love it.
I do too.
Yeah.
What do you have people do if they like what they're hearing? What should they do?
Like, subscribe, and share.
Yeah,
Is that
sure.
right?
We,
Is that the
we
right
have to have more than 89 views. So if you have to watch this 6 times a piece, that's what we want.
Yep. Yeah. Thank you so much, Monique. This was great. Thank you
you.
for spending time with us. We appreciate it. Thanks, you guys. We'll see you later.
See you next time.
Bye.
So good.
You feel good about that?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, you shared it very clearly because I'm like, I don't understand how this works, and
Yeah, I was kind of clueless as well.
Yeah.
But
it sounds like such a smart idea.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
I didn't want to
so
ask
far.
while we were rolling, but how full does your space stay? What's
Like
the
85, 90%.
Oh, so really full.
I only have like 2 offices open right now, and it's a little bit of a revolving door. So there's always something that's going to be open, or something changes, or someone grows out of us.
90%
is this
amazing.
an office space size that you would have in your space?
Oh yeah. I mean, they're from like 80 square feet to 160. Yeah, just right around that. Interior, exterior.
And then you guys provide the furniture.
Yeah.
It's really great.
Yeah, you just bring your laptop.
Super smart.
Pop it up.
Makes me want to start a business that I can just plug right in.
Yeah.
Well, you could move your
If we
office
had
over there,
Judy's
and then
here and we were talking about her ice cream, I'd want to go get ice cream too.
that's probably true.